So today we're going to ask ourselves, what if we as a society moved away from worshiping powerful people and places to worshiping the humble King named Jesus? What if instead of seeking our own power and privilege, we began putting people and relationships first, serving others and following Christ's example? He who came not to be served, but to serve. And what if our hearts could let go of the idols or the large buildings or temples or the things that sometimes seem so impressive, the things we cling to for security and status? And what if instead we embrace the freedom and the gratitude that come from trusting God alone? Today we're exploring what it means to let go of anything that competes with God's place in our lives and to make room for God to reign as the true King of our hearts. When we do that, we find ourselves more grateful for all that we already have. We find ourselves empowered to bring peace and hope to a world desperately in need of peace and desperately yearning for hope. Now, when the Bible talks about idols, it's usually in the form of physical objects or images that people worship instead of in statues or it's in physical objects like statues or altars, or symbols of false gods like Baal or the golden calf in the wilderness. These, of course, in their day were tangible representations of misplaced trust, a way for people to seek security or power outside their covenant with the Lord. Like the story when Moses goes up on the mountain and he receives the 10 commandments and he comes back down and says, "Listen, I've got these wonderful commandments." And he finds out everybody is worshiping this golden calf that they've made. It's like, "Hey guys, I've got all the instructions. What are you doing?" What are you doing? But idols aren't just relics of the ancient world. In our modern context, sometimes idols can take less obvious forms. They can be anything that we place above God in our lives, any idol that claims to have our ultimate loyalty or devotion, or something that distracts us from the true worship and the gratitude that God deserves. Or what I want to talk about today too is idols that sometimes we worship the container and not the contents. The question today for us is, what idols might we be holding on to without realizing it? Like I said, more concerned with the container than the contents. I remember when I was a kid, I grew up in a household that was well informed by the children of those who had gone through the Great Depression, those who saved everything. Perhaps you know of this kind of household where no box goes unreused, where no container goes thrown away, where you go to get the sour cream out of the fridge only to find out it's leftover mashed potatoes. How many of you know that feeling? You know that feeling, right? Shoot, I thought we had sour cream.